Alrighty. Welcome to the studio this evening. Feeling a little out of sorts. I'm a little behind. Just finished my drawing. Just finished setting up the stream a couple of minutes ago. I'm still trying to get things ready here, but I am. I guess I'm as ready as I'm going to be to do this painting. Hello, Natalie, Liza, Sherry, Dana, those people who came in a little bit early. Welcome. Glad you could make it here to Wednesday night watercolors. Let's see. A couple of things to get started with. As I've been doing for a while now, the paper that I'm using, Fabriano Studio watercolor paper, 25% cotton, nice paper. Not the best paper, but it's nice paper. Over here on my right-hand side are my paints. These are all M-gram paints of different colors. Let me put this up. Let's see. I'll put it up, and it's down in the corner down here. You'll see it scroll through all of the paints that I have. It should start up here. Let me do it this way. It should start up at the top here and scroll this way, and then wrap around and come back down this way. If at any point in time anybody wants me to stop and talk about the colors, how I've chosen these, why I like these, if I plan to change any of these out, whatever about colors, we'll get into that. I'm happy to answer those questions. And then again tonight, I'm going to be using my King Art paint brushes, just because I like them. No other reason than that. I really like these brushes. They've served me well for a couple of years now, and I don't see a reason to change them quite yet. I'm still enjoying using them. Okay, whoops, let me get my mouse out of the way. Nobody needs to see that. Let's see, Sudike is here. Another person joined in. Welcome, Sudike. Glad to see you here. And how am I going to start this? I'm going to start with some yellow up on this guy's head up here. You can see in the reference photo, there's some yellow up around this guy's head. And if you've ever seen one of these old pelicans, you know that they oftentimes have a pretty bright yellow head on them. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit of paint and get going with that. Let's see. What's everybody saying? Asking everybody what they've been painting in the chat. I like that. I know that a couple of you have already taken a crack at my monthly painting challenge. For anybody who's new to the stream, anybody who's watching in replay, I've got links down below to my Discord channel. And anybody who wants to can go there and find a monthly challenge. The goal is for us all to have a little fun painting something together. And you can post your work there. You don't have to post your work there, but you can post your work there, and then we can all see what image you've chosen specifically and how you've chosen to tackle the image. I don't think there's been a time yet that mine has come out and looked anything like anybody else's, and that's a good thing. We all paint slightly differently, and let's celebrate that and have some fun with what we're doing. All right, I've got some yellow on this guy's head and a little bit of gray on there just to tone it down just a slight bit. Now I'm going to work a little bit of brown into his neck here. This is mostly burnt umber, but it's going to come down, and this is going to be really light. It's going to lighten up in here as we pull it down. And then when I get down here on the bottom of his neck down here, he's got some gray down here, so we'll go ahead and put just a little bit of that on here. I'm moving a little quickly. I don't know. I didn't decide on what to paint here until this morning, actually. And so I felt like I've been in a bit of a rush to get this done. I had to come home from my day job, grab a quick bite to eat, run out here to the studio and do a drawing and set up the stream. So I'm feeling a little frazzled is the word I'm looking for here. Let's see. Sunike is trying to paint. One little sketch turned out pretty good. Two turned out to be a work in progress. Natalie, are you still plein air painting? Natalie is still plein air painting. She went to the arboretums to do some plein air painting. I am so happy. I can't tell you how happy I am that this weekend we are supposed to have some, ready, say it with me, sunny weather. It's been rainy the past few weekends, and then before that it was pretty chilly. So I'm hoping that this weekend I can get out and do some plein air painting. Okay, now I'm looking at the body of this bird over here, and it's a pretty light color of gray underneath, and hold on, YouTube just flashed me something up here. I seem to be buffering a little bit. Can you guys hear me? Something popped up. I want to make sure. Uh-oh, yeah. You know what? It looks like I'm broadcasting good. I don't know what's happening. I'm going to keep going and hope this doesn't continue. I'm going to hope this clears up for just a second. Let's give it a second here. I guess this is part of the problem of doing a live stream, is that sometimes we get things that happen like this. It looks like my broadcast, it did go down, and now it's going back up. Okay, I think we're past the worst of it. Okay. Blue is here. I'm Blue Vert for it. Oh my Lord, I can't even pronounce that. I can't pronounce that. I know this is your first time here. Welcome. I'm sorry you came on a time when it's gotten a little wonky here. Okay, what I was saying before it got a little crazy is that the color of this bird, the underlying color of the body of this bird, right, is this light gray, right? This really nice light gray. Now, I do like to mix my own grays, I will say, but in this case, I'm going to use a Paynes Gray to put this base layer of color on here, and then I'm going to come back and we'll put on some additional color on top of this. But I want to get this on nice and light. There we go. A lot of water on here. And let's just pull this down. Now, I will say one of the things I really do like about this paper is that however they've made this paper, you can tell it's machine made, but however they make this paper, you can definitely see it's got some nice pockets that hold quite a bit of paint in them. Okay, my widget on YouTube is gone, which means my connection is stabilized, and I hope that is behind us and we never see that again. But I'm just putting on a nice layer of this Paynes Gray. And Paynes Gray dries very light. Probably dries lighter per the amount of paint that you use than any other color. So I'm going to just put this on and we'll see what happens with it. I don't want to get this on all the way before I look up and see what people are saying out there. There we go. So now that's going to dry, and that's going to be the base layer upon which we'll build the rest of the color of this bird. And then we'll have an opportunity to put some nice blues and browns in the body here. Hopefully give it some nice sheen maybe, or anyways, a nice look that's going on. Let's see. See, since I'm not the only one, at least you know it's not your cheap internet connection. No, my cheap internet connection. Blue, are you in France? You are in France. What time is it? What time is it in France? I have no clue. Whoops, let me get that where you can see the whole thing. I have no clue what the time zone difference is between here and France. I would imagine it's probably more than I think. Eliza says she loves your country. A big French fan. I love your food. I have never... Okay, quick poll for everybody else here. How many people have been to France? I have not. I've barely been out of the country, I will admit. I would love to go. France has a wonderful, rich history, and would love to see at least some of that. But Blue, welcome. Are you Blue? So, are you a watercolor painter? Are you an accomplished painter? Are you a beginner painter? Did you just stumble upon this as a suggestion and that YouTube threw out there and you wanted to see what this was all about? Okay, I've got just a little bit of this color. So most of this is the same color that's in the body of this bird, right? Which is Paynes Gray. A lot of Paynes Gray in there. But I've dulled it with a little bit of neutral tint, right? And that's going to change it just a little bit. I'm going to put some orange down here too. Let's see. Was rearranging things in my art room last night and came across 2 unopened Arches pads behind some canvases. Needless to say, you were thrilled. I hope. Holy cow. Liza, if you're looking, if you've got one too many, let's talk after the stream. No, I love when things like that happen. They've probably been back there for years. You forgot about them, and all of a sudden, you get one, and it's like, yes! Let's see, Sadika, you went there when your dad was stationed in Germany. I have for my 50th birthday. Best trip ever. Wow. All right. A lot of people have been to France. Let's see. I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound funny, but it's kind of true. Let's see. I'm going to push my orange color all the way up here. The closest I've ever come to going to France, and this, you'll understand why this is going to sound strange in just a second. Closest I've ever come to being in France is I've been to Quebec, Canada. That's as close as I've ever come. And they speak French. And that's it. Liza, you're hoping to get back to France one day. I'll cross my fingers for you too. I hope you do too. We should, what we should do? We should have a plein air painting trip over to France. That would be fun. right? We're planning one here in California. Let's just keep the train rolling, right? We'll spend a couple of days here in California. We'll paint the coast, right? We get some nice pictures of the water, maybe some of the sea lion or a seal or something. We can go up and paint the elephant seals just up the coast. Got some beautiful shorelines here, right? We'll get that, and then we'll all hop on a plane, and once we get on a plane, then we'll just charter that. We'll take it over to France, where we'll meet up with Blue, and we'll do some watercolor painting over there. Actually, we don't even know. Blue, are you still here? It's 4 hours 13 in the morning. You should be sleeping. It's 4:13 in the morning. You should be sleeping. Holy cow. What part of France are you in, Blue? What should we expect to see as we come over to do some watercolor painting over there? Right? Should we expect to do some painting at the Louvre? Or, maybe around Paris a little bit? Or are we in some countryside in the north of France? Or are we on the French Riviera? Where are we at here? Susie, you didn't get to France until your son was almost out of college. Wow. Wait, Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter is doing a painting trip in France later this year. Oh man, that's okay. She's good. Good for her. Good for her. Okay, how are we doing here? I'm stalling a little bit as I'm waiting for things to dry, as always. As always. You think Lindsay, Leslie? You think Lindsay would be a blast to go with? She probably would. Sure, you went to French islands off the coast of Newfoundland, St. Pierre, and Miquelon? They actually belong to France. Wow. I would say I'm an intermediate watercolorist. Okay, cool. It's my first live stream here, but I'm subscribed to the channel. Oh, thank you. Wow. Well, whether it's your first live stream or your, I don't know how many I've done, 100th live stream, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you have any questions, throw them out there. I love to answer questions. And I think I have to say, I lied to everybody. I've been to Tahiti. Is that French? France owns a lot of stuff down around there. French Polynesia. They own a lot of stuff over there. I don't know. Maybe I've been to another French place. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. So let's see. Where are we at right now? Okay. The head is dry. The beak is drying. Or the bill. I should say the bill is drying. I want to now come back into this neck area and start to enhance some colors and hope to build up some, not necessarily texture, but shading so that we have some contour on this guy, right? So that's what my next stop is. We're going to darken on this side and we're going to darken on that side. And we're going to leave quite a bit of light right down the middle, and that should help to give some roundness to the neck here. So let's just see if that's going to work. And then up here on his head, right, we're going to do something kind of similar. Whereas around these curves, we're going to make this a bit darker, and then we'll let this blend out as we get further away from from the edges of his feathers where they kind of blend in. Yes, Tahiti is part of France. Okay, yes. I've been in France-ish, a French-ish area. Anyways, I thought it was something like that. All right, let's see. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do exactly like I like to do. I'm going to put a little color on, and then yeah, I've got some towels here. I'm going to mostly dry my brush off, and I'm going to just touch the edge and pull this out. And this is going to help to give a nice soft edge to all that color we just put on. Let me pull a little bit out of there, and I'm just trying to control that color a little bit. Keep that brush almost dry, just barely damp. And as long as my color's wet and my brush is not more damp than the area I'm going into, I can continue to pull color out of there as long as I want. Let's see. Oh, now everybody's gonna oh, let's see. Blue, you live in Poitiers. It's a small town. If we're to plein air there, expect to see a lot of churches. That's cool. Churches are fun to paint because especially probably over there in France, because they're probably really architectural, right? Over here, we probably have quite a few churches that are that are boxes, right? They're square boxes that have been built, I don't know, anywhere from the 50s or 60s on. Big square boxes, not a whole lot of interest probably. Now we do have some bigger cathedrals and some really fun places, but most of the churches, I think in general, are not super architectural. I could be wrong. So yeah, when I see a building that has a lot of interest in it like that, that would be fun to paint, I think. I really do. Thank you for the warm welcome. We sure are friendly. This is, I will say, Blue. Oh, Tracy is here. Hello, Tracy. This is a fun group to paint with. It's funny because I'll step back a little bit. When I was deciding to start streaming again, I was like, I don't know. Oh, I don't know if I want to do this. You know, it's kind of a hassle, and I'm putting myself out there for a lot of people, and I don't know if that's what I want to do, but I'm going to give it a shot because I do enjoy it, I will say, and I like to help people learn watercolors because I had a lot of help as I was learning watercolors, and it took about a week and everybody who was here really came together, and I felt super comfortable coming on here and streaming and trying to promote having fun and enjoying watercolors and sharing with everybody how we all like to paint watercolors and what we do. And the community that's here on this channel has embraced me, of which I'm immensely thankful, and I try to give back, and we all I think we all just have a lot of fun enjoying painting on a Wednesday night. And if I can help anybody learn anything, that is so much the better. So there you go. Sherry, how do you flatten paper? Wait a minute, did I miss something? Somebody's flattening paper? Who's asking that? Liza, you're asking about how to flatten paper? What's going on that we need to know how to flatten paper? I got a good method. Let's see. Let's see. See, I feel very grandmotherly. The youngest hosteler. I almost said hostetler. Hostler. Am I saying that right? The youngest hostler, the youngest person to use a hostel. The oldest person. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I'm lost. I don't know. Yes, Natalie, thank you. Natalie, bringing it back to center. We all love to get together and have some fun. Well, okay, great question. What is the brush? Let me pick up this little bigger one. Do I have an even larger one? I do. So, let me do this so you can see it here. Well, that's not the best, is it? There you go. So, my brush is the King Art brand. Whoop, you can see it right there. I'm not getting paid for any of this, but you can go to kingart.com and check these out. These are the 90-20 series of brushes. Whoop, wherever it's at, there you go. The 90-20. 90-20 are pointed round brushes, as opposed to just a round brush that has a tip like this, much less pointed. And while I'm okay working with a less pointed brush, I do really like working with a pointed brush. Just makes me feel a little bit more comfortable a little bit. And I just bought them on a whim one time. I was like, well, let me try these out. Let me see if these are any good. Let me see if I like these at all. I don't have any idea. I tried them out and found out that they're lovely brushes. And I've been using them pretty much ever since. I don't know. I have no idea if you could get them in France. I have no clue whatsoever. I would imagine they would ship them over there. I don't really know, but like I said, at the time I was trying to find a nice synthetic hair brush, which these are. This is Golden Tackle-On, and on their website they had what I thought was a very good deal. I bought into them, and I think I got 8 brushes, a pack of 8 brushes when I bought, and they're all in different sizes, so I divided them up, and I've been using these 4 that are on my table here. I've been using these 4 for quite a while. I've never felt the need to break out the other 4, so kind of the way I feel is that I'm going to have, in a couple of years, when these are all worn out, I'm going to have a couple of new brushes I can use. I'll just get the other ones out and carry on with those. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of blue here. I'm going to attempt to talk while I'm doing this. It's kind of a mixture of Cobalt Blue and Ultramarine Blue. And I'm going to mix in a little bit of Umber down as I get down to the bottom down here. It's just a mix of Cobalt Blue and Ultramarine Blue. I want this to I want to divide my colors up, and I want this to be cold up here. I want there to be a definite change in the feathering pattern here, right? So I'm just gonna put in a few different colors as I do this, and we'll see how it works out. I think it'll be okay. There we go. And you can definitely see, right, that I've got some feathers that come down here, and there's actually another row of feathers that are going to go underneath there too. Okay, hold on. Eliza says, is there any way to fix a slightly bent tip on a round brush? We had this tip last week, I believe. Did we not? And I think somebody said you can get them wet and with a not super hot iron and iron them out. Is that right? Let's see. I have some boards I use for stretching paper. What you do is you spray the back of the painting with water, put it down on some towel, and lay the wet side on paper towel. Then you put the paper towel over the painted side. Wait, then you put over and put another board on top. Put something heavy on the boards. The next morning the paint will be very flat. Oh. Okay. Eliza, if your brush accidentally dried that way, you might just be able to re-wet it. Right? And it might come back and work for you. So if you're trying to straighten paper, like I think you guys are, right? You've got some warping or buckling in your paper. I think there's an easier way to do it. And what I would do and what I have done in the past, and it seemed to work pretty well, but you might want to try it on not when you have a whole lot of desire to fix up first, is you can, just let me pull this out. You can take your paper, paint on this side, right, all warped up. You can spray paint on the back side of it, spray water on the back side of it, set it down, and then run just a warm iron over it, not a hot iron, just a warm iron over it. But don't let the water soak all the way through, or it could get onto your image on the top. And that usually is enough to flatten, relax everything out. So, Liza, why? So, Liza, you tried re-wetting and it didn't automatically work. Hey, Natalie trims hers, but you're a licensed beautician. Oh, Sherry, put it in boiling water, near boiling water. That's what the tip was from last week. Put it in near boiling water, and that could work. Let's see. Natalie, you used to wreck your Barbie's playing hairdresser. I don't know why that's funny to me, but that's funny. I don't have any idea. Let's see, Tracy, I live in Texas, but I'm from Louisiana. That's the state bird. I was going to say, in Louisiana, you guys probably have plenty of pelicans. Plenty. So Tracy, how am I doing on my Pelican? Uh-oh. I got a pop-up again that says I'm having issues. I'm not, I have a Windows machine here. It's not telling me I have any issues, so there must be something going on with my network around here. I wonder what it is. Tracy, how's my Pelican looking? Let's see, I've done that before, but this way works better. Okay. Getting it wet, putting a damp towel on it, and then sandwiching it between a couple of things. All right. Woo, totally believe you. There's no reason to think it wouldn't work, right? It's kind of like flattening out I used to flatten them out all the time. Clovers, 4-leaf clovers, right? You put it in a page of a couple of books or something heavy, anything heavy, and you let it sit there, and eventually it flattens out and it dries, and then you're good to go, right? Tracy says, awesome, thank you. We have a lot of pelicans here too. You guys have slightly different pelicans than we have. We get a lot more of the Alaskan pelicans here. You guys get the big browns, I think. Now you can tell me if I'm wrong, and I very well could be. We get some brown pelicans, but they're here, and at a time they just kind of look gray. But I love watching the pelicans fly around. Oh my Lord. They are huge, and they are prehistoric looking. Were you the evil civic? I tried playing barber when I was a kid. Oh, you cut your younger sister's fangs. Oh, I hope you did the sibling thing and blamed it on somebody else. Let's see, I want to get a little bit of this blue. Come on, give me some of this blue up here. I want to mix a number of different colors in here. Exhausted. You exhausted your poor mom. I can imagine. I did the same thing. My mother and I, we still laugh about it now, many years later. She would, if you're watching, hi Mom, my mother would say, I think you need to go and play outside. And the minute we would step outside, that door would go click, click, and lock behind us. Okay, cool. We're outside for a while. Let's see what we can do out here. I don't think you could get away with doing that anymore. She would tell us, look, I've got a terrible headache. I need to rest. I need this to go away. You and your brother need to go outside and find something to do. All right, cool. We'll do that. And we were out and gone. Yes, Tracy says they're beautiful in person, and they are. She's talking about the pelicans. Beautiful in person and much bigger than you think. So where I live, we have I live on a bay. Ooh, this guy's, I love the way his beak is coming out. We live on a bay, and at its nearest point, the other side of the bay is, I don't know, 200 yards away. And lots of times they'll sit in a group, a flock, you might say, a school of pelicans, I think, maybe, I'm not sure, on the other side, and you can sit there and watch them, and they just kind of sit on the beach and they kind of do whatever. And then all of a sudden somebody will move or something will happen and they'll all take off, and you'll see 40 or 50 of them go up and paint and fly. And then they'll start to circle around, and you look at them, and I don't know how big their wingspan is, 5, 6, 7 feet. I don't know. They're huge. And then I love watching them dive into the water to catch fish. It's like they'll be going 40 miles an hour and stop on a dime, boom, and they come up with their whole, what do you call it? Their jowls out of their beak? Yeah, I don't know. It's all full, everything. Oh, fantastic to watch. Let's see. Sherry, your daughter cut the hair off every Barbie doll. Oh. And Sanika, you're saying this is starting to look good. It's starting. It's getting there. Let's see. I'm going to put a little dark back here on this wing. And we're going to really build up. I don't want it super dark, I guess. Maybe a little bit more than that. Give me some. Actually, this Cobalt Blue would be a little bit better. It doesn't need to be heavy. So I do have a serious question for you all. I get carried away. Liza, you're agreeing. It's looking good. Thank you. I get carried away in these streams. Just kind of painting however and carrying on and trying to read along and have fun with the group in talking about whatever we're talking about. But I do want to ask the question, and I think it needs to be asked, would you all rather me continue to do that, or would you rather me talk a little bit more about how I'm painting or what I'm painting or my thought process as I'm painting? Because I do like this to be an interactive kind of a thing, and I do want you to get a lot out of it, but I do like to teach. So I want to make it as good for you guys as possible. Tracy says, have I ever tried a shoebill stork? I've not. I've seen them. We have a couple in a zoo. It's not a whole lot of a zoo, but it is a zoo. A couple of towns inland from here. Actually, I really like that little zoo. Like I said, it's not really that much of a zoo. We don't have too exotic of any animals, but it's a fun zoo to go to. And I've seen the shoebills there, and they're cool. But I have not tried to paint any. Maybe that's one I should put in the repertoire. So what do you guys think? Should I talk more color? Should I talk more? You thought it was a crane, but it is a huge, powerful bird. Should I talk color a bit more? Should I talk technique a little bit more? Is that something that you guys would get some benefit out of? Or, the alternative is we continue to carry on like this, which I'm happy to do. Okay. Tracy's saying you like the way that I engage with the chat. I'm in the thought process and I'm starting to go off on tangents in chat. No. Don't stop going off on tangents, because I'll tell you what, I enjoy where the chat goes, more often than not too. I thoroughly enjoy it. If I didn't, I would say, well, look, I'm glad we're talking about, blah, 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 X, Y, Z, but I want to bring it back to yada, 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 right? And I don't, because I really do enjoy the chat, and I love that it's people here wanting to be here chatting about things we all like to chat about. So I don't want to stop all of that. I'm just curious. I think it's a good balance now. Okay, we get off on tangents sometimes, and that's part of the charm. It is part of the charm. Okay. And Liza, you say you like that I answer questions. Cool. I'm never going to stop answering questions, Liza, as long as you keep asking them. As long as You guys are willing to keep asking questions. I'm willing to keep answering them. Carry on like this. Okay, perfect. Let's keep doing it then. I think everyone who's spoken, we will carry on the way we are. I love it. I love it. Okay. Whew. All right. So you can kind of see what I got going on here, right? Nice and dark under here. If you look at the reference photo, I don't know that my colors are quite like the reference photo. I know it's hard for you guys. You're probably looking at it on a smaller screen. But nice and dark under here, right? There's a layer on top here. I might have to darken a little bit to make these top feathers stand out a little bit more. And then that dark goes all the way up, right? So we've got kind of 3 layers of feathers here. And I think that's kind of important. And so, okay, so Susie is saying, I can teach a little bit more as I paint. Okay, maybe I'll do that. I'll dive into that. Whoops, you guys can't even see half of this guy up here. All right, but I love these 3 layers, right? I should say, I so look forward to Wednesday's day. Oh, that makes me feel good. We always invite newbies to ask questions. I'm sure you guys do. You guys are fantastic. You're very welcoming. You're very open. You're willing to talk and trade ideas and everything. I love that. What was I going to say? Oh, it's taken me a long time to figure out my style, right? I talk from time to time. Every now and again, I talk about watercolor style, right? I do. I don't always just get on here and do whatever. I mean, sometimes. But in my style, I'm not really worried about all of the feathers that are on that bird, right? Look at that reference photo. There's a lot of feathers on there. I'm not really worried about all of those. In my style, I've tried to distill this down to what makes this bird look like this bird. And to me, it's not necessarily the addition of all the feathers on here. The addition of all the feathers, honestly, I don't think that adds a whole lot to this. But what does add a whole lot to it is the definition between this top layer and that middle layer and the layer underneath. So when you look at it, you're going to see, at least I hope, when we're done and you look at this, you're going to see a couple of different pops of color on here. Now, I have drawn on here, and I'll hold it up so you can see, right? I have drawn on here a couple of feathers that we're going to try to get in here in kind of my own little style. And we're going to get into those right now, actually. And I think we're going to get a lot of detail in here from those. And I just don't think, it took me a while to figure this out. And like I said, anybody who doesn't think this way is right. Anybody who thinks the way I do, they're right. Anybody who doesn't think the way I do, they're right too. There's no wrong way to do this. It's just I do it a different way, and I think the way I do it kind of has some interest to it. Michael, I was wondering how you would do all those feathers. I'm not going to do all those feathers. At this point over here, I'm not sure I want to do any of the feathers. I think I do want to darken up here a little bit, and maybe up underneath here a little bit. But I don't have a whole lot of interest in doing all those feathers. One could drive themselves crazy trying to paint every feather. Yes! And more than you could drive yourself crazy painting every feather. Are you going to get the benefit of painting all those feathers? I'm not convinced you will. So if you're not convinced, anybody who's watched videos on watercolor or taken a class on watercolors, one of the things that everybody tries to tell you that you need to do is what? You need to simplify your painting. Right? Lots of people say, oh, you have to simplify. Simplify and It's going to make your life a lot easier. If you can simplify what you're doing, blah, 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 cool. Cool. That's, that's kind of good advice. I don't know if it's necessarily the best advice, because when people say you need to simplify, they never tell you how you simplify. But in my case, I'm going to simplify by just not doing it. And I don't think we lose anything when we do that. In fact, I think we probably gain a little bit. Let's see. I like your style because I'm getting better at focusing on the most important details. There you go. There you go. That's, if you can figure out what the most important thing, if you look at that photo, right, and you can see the 10,000 feathers on the back of this pelican, and you've got these little things sticking off of his head, and you've actually got all these little tiny feathers up there, and you're going, whew, okay, what do I need to do to paint all of these? You're going to go nuts. It's going to be difficult. And so you go, okay, well, I need to simplify a little bit. Cool. The next question is, how do you simplify? And the answer to that is pick an area. For me, I looked at this picture. I couldn't simplify his head, right? I've done a little simplification, but you certainly can't simplify his bill or hers. I don't know if this is a boy pelican or a girl pelican, but you can't simplify the bill. It's iconic. It's something that people are going to see, and they're going to know right away pelican by looking and seeing that giant bill. I mean, the shape also, but that's one of the things you expect. You can't take away a foot. You probably, let's give him something to sit on here. We got this kind of greenish brown kind of, it's like got copper infused in it, piling that this guy's sitting on. Let's put a little bit of that down here. Maybe there's a little bit of gray in there too. Shoot, let's put the blue in there. Oh, okay, there we go. And so there's not a whole lot of areas we can go to simplify this, but feathers is one area we definitely can go to. So let's figure out the best way to simplify those feathers, and that's what I did. I simplified by not doing it. When in doubt, cut it out. I don't know if that's a saying. It should be. Does squinting help you simplify? It could. You know what I was told? This is the if you're trying to paint in an impressionistic style, the best thing to do is to look through some pantyhose. Because it's supposed to be just enough of a filter in there that it's going to take away all those details. Squinting probably do exactly the same thing. It's going to take away a whole bunch of those details, and you're not going to be able to figure them out. Now, if you work at it, I'm sure you could. What key is, okay, so here's a good question. Oh, wait. Let's see. Oh, Sudike says, okay, I'm trying to read through a couple here. Hit the like button. If you hit the like button, thank you. Fantastic. I would very much appreciate you doing that. That helps me out. Let's see. But the real question is, I can take my Anna. Oh, Anna, hello. Hello, Anna. Welcome. Anna says, you take your glasses off. That works. Sudike says, what key is that you're establishing the major feather groups? So if I had a picture of this, I could show you. So who's got pantyhose? I don't know who has pantyhose anymore. I have no idea. So if you go to, I don't know if you go to Discord, you can get a bigger version of this. You might be able to find, well, you won't find this specific picture. I got this off of PMP Art, and I'm gonna have to post my finished picture back there for them. But so let's take this front wing as an example, because you might be able to see it well enough over there. So you can, right, there's not really a big definition between this front wing and the body and that back wing, right? There just isn't. And I'm forcing that in here a little bit. Okay. So that's all well and good. But then when we get to this front wing, you can see there's some really light feathers that come off and go over here. And I went, okay, that's cool. That makes kind of a cool line. I just drew some straight lines in here to represent that. And then if you look at that picture real closely, especially right down here in that picture, like right above that leg and down towards his rear end down here, you can see there's another line in there. So I went, okay, that's kind of cool. There's a whole second line of things in there. We can accentuate that, right? And then behind that is this really dark area. Cool, I can make a really dark area back there. That gives me 1, 2, 3 areas to differentiate color right on that top wing. And then that's going to push this part of the wing way out of the painting like that, right? And then it's going to push this way back underneath. You see that dark, your eyes going, okay, that's in deep shadow underneath there. Automatically, we've got 3 levels to our painting, and we haven't done a whole lot with it. Right? So for me, if I'm looking at doing a painting, from a reference photo, those are things I look to find. Do I have big areas like that I can accentuate? Or am I going to need to manufacture some bigger area like that to accentuate? Right? And then the feathers along the back here and down the tail where I'm at right now. Okay, these are good. These are nice. I need to have something there because I can't not have a tail here. Right? When you look at it, you expect that there's a tail here and there's some feathers that are associated with this tail. So I have to put something down there. How am I going to do that? All right, well, cool. On this one, and I just touched it and it pulled together. Right on this one, whoop, whoop, whoop. I can just put some color right next to the feather next to it and let it do a graded wash all the way out. Pew, pew, pew. I've got just a little gradient of color in there. It's just enough to set it off a little bit. Same thing I did up here. It's not really dark. I just a little bit to set that off. And then we're just going to keep going back and doing a little bit here and a little bit there. To continue on with that. In fact, I'm going to darken this up just a little bit more in here. Maybe a little bit more of that brown. Nope, come on. Brown, brown, brown. There we go. I want that a little bit warmer. I'm using value to define the form. In many instances I am. Right? It's not, I wouldn't say it's a traditional negative painting, but yes, it's using some negative painting technique to guide the viewer's eyes to see exactly what I want them to see. And look what we have here. The darker I make this up here, right there on this back, the more this wing pops right out, right? You're using value to define the form. I love that. That's a great way to describe it. But in essence, it's a little bit of negative painting. Wait a minute. you Tracy, you never, you usually squint your eyes. You never heard the pantyhose trick. All right. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure who told me the pantyhose trick. But just, the next line is what I'm laughing at. Garters and suspenders probably wouldn't help. That's true. It probably wouldn't help a whole lot. It probably wouldn't help too much. Come on, do people? I don't know, because I don't wear hose, but do people wear hose at all anymore, or no? I don't have any idea, to tell you the truth. I know growing up, I used to love to play with the egg that they came in. But that really is about as much as I know about pantyhose. I guess I haven't really paid attention. I guess you don't see it all that much, but people must still wear them. I don't know. Okay, cool. So look, I just darkened this up a little bit right here. And look, it adds a lot more. It adds a lot more. It makes this light that much lighter and pops that wing out a little bit. This is the stuff I love. When I can demonstrate a technique, you got pantyhose. I don't have any. I don't. My birthday's coming up. Maybe I'll get some pantyhose for the studio for my birthday. That sounds so terrible. YouTube's going to shut me down now. All right, look, if I darken that up, that layer, oh, it's so nice. Darken that layer up a little bit, and it pops this whole bit right out. I don't have any pantyhose in my studio. Okay, I'm gonna forge ahead here. Let's see, he's got a pretty orange beak down here. Maybe as we go up, it's a little bit of dirty orange, and that's okay. As we go up, maybe I'll just grab a little bit of this red and mix that in there. Let's add some color. I'm not trying to, obviously, I'm not trying to make this exactly the same as that reference photo. I never try to do that. Sure, you learn a lot here. I'm gonna get a sponsorship from the legs people. I'll get a letter from them in the morning. We'd like to sponsor your channel. That would be, oh my God, that'd be hysterical. See, I can't wait to see the faces of my art readers when I have for pantyhose class. I want to say, God, I want to say that I actually heard that so I've taken 2 watercolor classes in my life, both of which I thought were underwhelming. And the first one was actually taught by a guy who was a pretty famous watercolor artist, or I'm sorry, a pretty famous artist. He did watercolors, wasn't his first love, but he did paint watercolors, and I want to say it was commercials. Yeah, that's why you don't have any paintings, because everybody has taken them for their art studio. I want to say that he was the one who said to do that. I don't have that proof, but I want to say that it was his idea. I don't want to get in. I don't need to be in any further of this pantyhose conversation. I think I've ruined the product for forever. See, I'm going to darken his bill. Is it a bill or it's a B? It's got to be a bill, right? I'm going to darken his bill up here a little bit. Let this color come down. And then we're going to put a couple of lines in there. And I want to do this because his bill is so much darker than the surrounding, right? It's so much darker than the surrounding area. And I just want to make sure that we represent that in here. Let's see, I'm going to put a little blue in here. I told you guys last week, I saw Alvaro Castagnett do that. Just drop some color into some random places inside where there's some other color on his painting. Right, we can give a little red up there. And as long as that doesn't create a background, when that dries, there'll just be a little undertone of some color in there. And I just thought that was kind of the coolest thing. So I'm looking for places to do that in. I'll see, he's got this little hook on the end of his beak. There we go. The dirty orange makes the whole painting sing. This dirty orange. Okay. All right. I think I need to get things back on the rails a little bit. I'm having more fun without it being on the rails. Quite honestly. Let's do a couple of other feathers in here. That's too much. We don't need quite that much color. Let's just get a couple of more feathers in here. Same thing. This is the same thing we did. This is the same thing we did. Remember when we did the flamingo? And I was deciding what needed to be done on the back of the flamingo. We had that large area that didn't have a whole lot of color on it. I'm sorry. It didn't have a whole lot of texture on it. I was looking for something to do there. Same thing. We just put a little bit of color in there, outlined a couple of these little feathers, and all of a sudden we had something that had a lot of texture on it, looked really nice, and it turned out, I thought the flamingo turned out fantastic. So there were, and you can see just some really soft feathers in here. Sudika, you love the beak. Whoops, let me pull it down this way. You love the beak. It's got this nice gradient of color that comes down here, right? And a couple of spots up here. It's going to look better when we get his eye in there. For whatever reason, right? Everything looks good. It looks all nice until you put the eye in there, and then it really starts to pop things out. I just want to darken up a couple of these. Come on. A couple of these little feathers up here. I'm going to blend this a little bit, just a little bit. Want that to be just a little darker than it is now. I like that. I like that. Yeah, now he's got something up there. Right? So Natalie, I've heard of grayscale prints too. So easy to do with digital phones now. Yeah, Sherry, you're saying it's starting to look good. It's getting there. I'll take it. It's getting there. I'm with you. I think it's starting to look good. I need a little extra color here, I think. I'm going to do a little bit just like that. I'm going to try to do a couple of these feathers all at once, and let's see if I can do this. Right, dry my brush off, almost totally dry. Just enough to pull that color out. And every couple of moments, just grab that brush and get a little bit of the color off of it. I don't know if you can see. Tiny little bit of color that's on there. We just grab and pull that off. Because I'm not worried about the paint so much. I'm worried about the moisture content that's on it. And a little muddied in there. You know what? Let's strengthen that up a little bit. We need to see that a little bit more. We can go ahead and do that. There's one. There's one there. And let's put one right down there. Let's just do a couple of these. Right, the bigger this gradient, the more room there is between these feathers. Right, so if it's a really light gradient between the two, like right down here, these feathers are really close together. They're like touching. He's a cute mohawk. He's got a cute mohawk up here. If we, that's funny, if we have a little lighter gradient, then those feathers are closer together, a little darker gradient, they're a little further apart. Let's just see what we got going on here. Okay, all right. I'm looking at it up there. It's a little different up there, as always, than it is on my table here. I want to round this feather off a little bit. Come on. Got a little bit jagged there. And the only thing I have to do on this side is not go over that wing where I've drawn it. Actually, give me a little bit of this color, a little bit of this brown color. I don't want to get too much of this off. There. Okay, all right. I'm good with where we're at. There we go. So we got a couple of feathers up here. We've got a couple defined here. What do you think? Do I need to do this a little bit more down here? That seems like a lot. Hint, an indication, it's subtle but very strong. I don't know if I told you guys, I had a friend, and we've kind of lost contact. She lived up in the Pacific Northwest and painted all the time. Had these wonderful paintings, and the thing she always used to say, right, when she's painting, she's always reminding herself that she's trying to suggest things in her painting, not state things in her painting. She wants to suggest the hint of things, but she doesn't want to tell you directly, write out what those things are. So I always thought that was a kind of a cool thing. Suggest, don't state. And if you suggest things, it's going to turn out. If you state things, then your audience can't use their imagination. They can't see things uniquely, and you may not be quite as successful in your painting as you maybe thought that you should have been. I thought that was an interesting way to look at things. Let's see, I'm going to put a couple of more little feathers over here. I don't know. This might be too much. I might not need these over here. But Let's see. Who are the two artists you've taken watercolor classes with? Well, so the most recent one, and this is why I say this may not have been the best class in the world. The watercolor teacher, I took this at the local community college, she had never painted watercolors before the class started. She did go to an art school down in Los Angeles, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. This tells you a little bit about the class. I don't remember what her name was. I feel a little badly about that, actually. God, what? I don't know. I hope she's not watching. I really hope she's not watching. The other person that I took the class with was Richard Phipps. And Richard Phipps, back in the 60s and the 70s, had a cup of coffee of a career down in the LA area. He taught at UC Santa Barbara for 20 years or so. He taught at a number of other smaller universities in California and retired up here to where I was. And so I think if you ever look up Richard Phipps, you probably will see some of the things he's done. He was a fantastic artist in his own right. I will give him all credit for that. I didn't like his teaching style. His teaching style was basically, let's see, our class was 10 weeks long. For the first 7 weeks, he said, go and find an image in a magazine and copy it. I'm like, really? Is this all we're doing? And that's what he wanted us to do. And then the last couple of weeks he went, well, okay, now that you've done that, now I want you to do this other stuff. And only the last couple of weeks did I think it was a really good class. But by then it was a little too late for me. I had already kind of mentally checked out of it. But he was a good artist, and he was a good painter. So I do want to give him some credit for all of that. Let's see. All right, I got a couple of lines. Oh, you almost can't see them. Oh, they're subtle. Look, there they are. Up there. Oh, look, I need to do his eyeball too, don't I? Let's see. He's got a lot of red in his eye. Let me get a little bit of this red. I'm going to use Pyrrol Red here and a little bit of neutral tint. Phipps, P-H-I, Phipps, P-H-I-P-P-S. Richard Phipps was his name. And apparently he was friends with Jasper Johns. Friends with Jasper Johns and kind of that whole in crowd. There was some other guy he worked with quite a bit. He always was talking about him. God, it was a long time ago. So I'm trying to remember. All right, we got his eyeball on there. It's kind of reddish. You know what we need to do? We need to do some of his leg here. Let's see, I'll just take that same color. And I want to make his leg a little bit rounder. I actually waited. This is a terrible thing to say. I actually waited to take the second watercolor class, hoping that Richard Phipps would retire. And when he retired, then I immediately jumped on to take that second watercolor class, not knowing who the instructor was. And then, for what it's worth, we'd go into class and the instructor would ask me to kind of lead class. And I did a lot of teaching in that class, which was like I said, it was fine with me. I like teaching. But I think if I'm paying for the class, I shouldn't have to teach too much of it. Let's see. We need to do something with our piece of wood down here. Okay, it's gone quiet. It's gone quiet. I'm a little nervous. Why is it quiet? You all know me. I look up and nobody says anything for 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm like, uh-oh. What's going on? What did I do? Where has everybody gone to? I know you're just listening to me regale you with stories of my time in a community college watercolor class. This is fine. There we go. We got some nice. Let's give it a little bit of extra color on here in a couple of spots. Might be a little too watery there. And a little bit underneath the tail. We can make that even a little bit bluer. Make this guy stand out. There we go. And this warm on top of that cold should help that stand out a little bit. You were just listening. Lots of portraits and acrylics. I've done one acrylic painting in my life, and the funny part of that is I did it during COVID as an at-home outreach from my local library. Yeah, how about that? I sat here in the studio, and our local library, they have a mandate to put on some adult education classes, and so they did. And you could sign up online, and they gave you all the art materials you needed to. It was in a little baggie with your name on it, and they set it outside of the outside of the library. You could go and pick it up. And then he came home, and then at a certain time, they did a Zoom meeting, and you could paint along with the instructor. And I did. And it actually was kind of fun. I very much enjoyed it. I think you can have a teacher, but you can also teach yourself. Yeah. I think there's a lot to being able to teach yourself how to do a lot of things. I do. Okay. Okay. Now, see this area right here? See this area, this little wing right here? I don't have enough definition between these two areas, right? These colors just kind of go in the same. I need a more saturated color in one of these two areas. I think what I'm going to do is down here I have dark behind light. I think up here I'm going to put dark in front of light. And let's see if this is going to work. Watch, I'm going to try this and it's going to look terrible. I'm going to go, oh, I should have done it the other way. I think this will work though. Just get a little color on here. And let's just give a little bit here, and I'm going to pull this way out. That's probably actually more color than I need. Yep. Way more color than I need. Okay, I'm going to push up into that just a little bit. There we go. I'm just kind of setting the edge there a little bit. Right, just to give the difference between the neck and that wing. That's all I'm doing. Tracy, you're working on an acrylic painting right now. Best of both worlds. Best of both worlds. I don't know how you can, Tracy, I don't know how you can watch and paint at the same time. It's impossible for people to do two things at once. It's like talking and painting at the same time. This is not possible. You end up with something like this. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna give a little bit more color down here on his beak. Come on, something. Orange, red, just I want a little extra color down here. And then I'll pull this up a little bit. I just want this to stand out. And then I was thinking about giving it the old wonkadoodle background. I don't know what I'm not sure what it, I don't remember what we call it. There we go. Ooh, I like the brighter color down here. That really does make it look nice. Right, a little extra pop of color down there. Let's give him a little extra pop of color up here somewhere too. You know, why not? Let's take that. Let's give him a little color up here, and let's let that blend out just a little bit. We don't have to have these big mono colors in there. Okay, cool. I like that. I like that. Let's see. I gotta pull this down a little bit. Is his eye dry? Let's give him a little pupil on his eye before we do anything else. Right there, and then when that dries, we will put a little highlight on there. So I was thinking, right, because this is what we do, trying to set ourselves up for success, trying to make this look as interesting as possible. Okay, and going to try to pull in a little color theory here, maybe a little color theory. But if you want something to pop off the page, right, what do? You put it next to its complement color, right? So the complement of blue is orange. So I don't even know if I have any of the old paintings. Remember how I would, I am going to highlight the eye. I got to wait for that pupil to dry though. Remember how I would put some water on and just let it spread out and then drop some color on there? That's what we're going to do with this guy, right? He's kind of standing on this post, and we know he's, you know, you're seeing the sky behind him, or maybe some forest or something behind him, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to make him just in front of like this yellowy, orangey background. So let's do this, right? Well, let's mix up a little color here first. Yellow, orange. This is Gamboge. This nice, warm yellow. A little bit of orangey color in there. Right? Ooh, look at this beautiful color. I think it's going to make him pop off the page. Right? Remember we did this? I've done this before. You all know this. You all know this trick. It's not going to be great for his bill, but for the rest of his body, this is going to make him look fantastic. So I'm going to take some color right down here. I'm trying to make sure this is nice and clean. Let's get this wet. Pull it down, down, down. There we go. And then we're going to drop in some of this color. And that hopefully is going to make him pop right off of the page here. And then this color can spread out however it wants to. We'll help it a little bit, but right, it can just go and do what it likes, which is to play in the water. We like when color does that. Got some nice orange, yellow around here. Whoops, clean, clean, clean. Something like that. Cool. We got a little bit on this side, and already you can tell, look, it looks like he's popping off the page now all of a sudden, right? Let's do it on his back here. That color is going to come through this way, So let's see what we have to do on this side. And I got to move and get just right so I can see where the shine is off these colors. All right, let's pull that up, pull it up, pull it up. Oh, little extra color on here. Cool, this should really make this guy pop right off of this page. If we've done this right, ooh, he's looking good. Not too wet, not too wet. Let's pull this color out a little bit. The only thing I have trouble with this is from time to time, you know, I like to drop color in here and do this, but from time to time you get a little too much color in here and it's a little stronger, it's a little overpowering, something like that, and it's probably not what you want. Okay, there he is, cool. So it's kind of like a sunset behind him, right? So the reason I do this, I'll be completely honest. The reason I do this is my wife hates that I leave things on a white background. So this fulfills not having it on a white background. I have it on, he's on a background. It's not just floating in white space. And it gives you the opportunity to put something else on there that's going to enhance the subject matter. In this case, it's our pelican, right? And where do you want that color around? Right, whatever that complementary color is here. You want that orange, that yellowy orange around that blue color. It's going to pop him right off the page. And in this case, it did. I love it when stuff comes together the way it's supposed to. Okay, cool. So I think that's about all. Oh, no, I was going to say that's about all I've got on this one. It's called simplifying. There you go. There you go. We don't need a whole, you know, background that's going to do a lot of things. I just need one that's going to do what I want it to do or what I need it to do. And in this case, what I needed to do is highlight the bird. So yeah, it's a simplification. All right, so we need a little highlight on his eyeball here. I'm going to drop that there. We need a little something on his beak here or here. Something, I don't know, maybe. It's amazing how a highlight, you can't even see it. It's so Sherry, you go crazy with backgrounds. I don't. I hate backgrounds. I abhor backgrounds. I understand why we have backgrounds, but my whole thing was, for a long time, I only want, when you look at a piece of my artwork, I want your eye just to go to what I want it to go to. I don't, all that other superfluous stuff, I'm not worried about. But I understand the need to not want it on a white background. So I think this fulfills having a background on it. And look, there's just kind of an amorphous background on that reference photo anyways. I think my background, simple as it is, actually works better for the bird. So let me pick this up and you can see his eyeball there. He's got a little bit of highlight on it, a couple of bits on his beak. Look at the feathers on here. And again, not a whole lot of detail, but you stand back a couple of feet. If I put this back here, all of a sudden you can see a lot of feathers on there, right? All of a sudden it pops out at you as to what it is. Okay, so actually, you see the eye. Oh, daffodils next week, Natalie, you're right. But before we get to daffodils next week, I actually like doing this, which is the self-reflection on what things went well and what things didn't go so well. So, deep breath. I'm going to look at this, and where's something I can point with? I'll point with this. What went well for me on this? Actually, I should say, remember I put that little tiny bit of color on here? Look, all of a sudden, that gave a lot of definition to the top of that wing there. Look. Now you can see there's totally definition between the wing and the neck. Okay. What went well? What didn't go well? What went well? I love this whole area down here. I think this actually turned out fantastic. I like the little bit of brown underneath these tail feathers down here. This little different color. It's not a huge difference. Yes, it's a little bit warmer. It's a little less bluer. But it's not so much that it's distracting to your eye from these other colors. I think that looks fantastic. I love the yellow up here in his head. I think I would have liked a little more definition up here, but I can live with it for what it is. I like that yellow up there, and I don't think it's a detractor in any way, shape, or form. I wish I had done this part here, right? It's dark over there. It's dark over here too. I just kind of wish I would have done this in 2 extra layers instead of that 1 layer. It's easy to go a little overboard on the dark, and I think I just went a touch overboard with the dark here. And I think I got a little lost in here. I kind of painted what I drew, and I think I just drew a couple of feathers too many. I should have edited myself just a little bit more. But other than that, I think this guy turned out pretty well. I'm going to sign him here, and I'm going to call him good. Like Natalie said, next week when we're back here, the topic is already picked for us. It's going to be daffodils. Natalie has done a fantastic daffodil painting, and she posted it over to the Discord site. Let's see. Ann Mortimer paints botanicals, and she loves background colors. Okay. Sherry, you were thinking today you need to simplify your paintings with not doing backgrounds. Yeah, I'm with you. I love that. Let's see. Who else? Sherry says this bird popped. He does. He pops off that yellow, the orange behind there pushes him way forward in the painting. Really makes it look nice. Next week, daffodils. If you want to go and look at it, then look at the challenge, see what other people have done. That's fantastic. It's over there in the Discord channel. Let's see. I'm looking at it. We got a few people who are still online here with me before we break. Liza, Natalie, Sherry, Susie. I found this new feature that shows me the people online, currently online, which is nice. Blue was here. Tracy, Sherry, Sudike. Oh, who else was here? Anne was here, right? Somebody else. I don't know, a lot of people. I can't, it's hard for me to go back through to thank you all, but I do want to thank you all for joining me here on Wednesday, making my Wednesday evening enjoyable. Let's meet right back here the same time next week when we'll be painting daffodils. I look forward to it. Until then, thank you all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And until next week, thank you so much. Bye-bye.